The new episode of NBC's Magnum PI in 5 months debuted on Wednesday night, and it immediately gave viewers, including Thomas, a pregnant pause. In other words, Juliet told her partner that she was late and possibly be pregnant. The way Juliet believed Thomas would be thrown off or nervous by this potential development was one of the delightful, charming things the program did with it. However, it was evident to spectators from Jay Hernandez's performance in each moment that Magnum was genuinely thrilled about the prospect. Why was Juliet Higgins by herself in a hotel room with a Russian in tonight's Magnum PI episode? Thomas Magnum was her partner. She was quite fond of Magnum, and happily her brief stay in the hotel room was all part of a narrative. Jin was telling a story. It seems that he concluded that writing a book was simple. His idea was to submit a story about the White Knight to Robin. He also intended to bestow some mystical abilities on Magnum's persona. When Magnum interrupted him, he was still telling the story. He'd expressed his skepticism that Robin would pursue a supernatural career. Jin said that it was alright since, in all honesty, he just had a book cover, but he had another book concept. The book cover featured a polished Jin. Jin just wants to offer Robin the cover in hopes that she would create a tale about him. But that isn't how writing operates. Magnum said as much to Jin. Jin's fables were mainly useful for lulling Rick's young daughter to sleep. Rick thanked him for that afterwards. Additionally, he informed his buddies that Kumu thought they ought to space out their visits to see TC. Now that he was discharged from the hospital, they did not want to overload him. After a gunshot, their close friend TC became paraplegic. He could potentially recover his ability to move, or he could end up permanently paralyzed. It will take time. But TC isn't giving up hope just yet. The others haven't either. They saw to it that TC was receiving excellent veterans treatment. There he was adjusting to life in a wheelchair. He had Shammy's assistance. The others were only doing their best to lend support. That is, until Magnum managed to crack a case. A new customer of the private investigator called inexplicably. This client withheld their identity or information on him. On the call, all he would admit to being was a hitman. He is employed to murder people. It doesn't bother him to do so. He also only has one rule. Children are not killed by this hitman. He was recruited by someone to murder a 12-year-old girl. He declined their request since he knew they would find another person to complete the task. Magnum and Higgins were recruited by the hitman to save the girl. He claimed to be aware that they would accept the job despite the risks. That's the type of person they were. They, along with the hitman, would never permit the killing of a child. When he provided them the information, the hitman bowed out. He vowed to never get in touch with them again. The two PIs then set out to find the girl. Higgins' case turned personal. Higgins thinks she might be carrying a child. She wasn't certain. Magnum kind of wanted to check right away, but she wanted to wait until they were done with the case. He was anxious, but also impatient. He was at a loss as to what feeling he should experience. It was only this case that consumed their time. They located the girl's residence. Anna Park is her name. Her guardian and teacher share a home with her. Margaret Neely is the name of the guardian. Just minutes before the private investigators arrived at Margaret's house, she was struck by a car. When they encountered the new hitman, they couldn't help but question if it was a coincidence. Clint Watt was eventually revealed to be the new hitman. He is known by the moniker The Ghost. He accepted the task of killing Anna, and he waited to question Margaret after failing to locate her at her home. Screaming, she raced outside. After that, she was struck by a car and sent to the hospital. Watt turned around again, hoping Anna would return. Rather, he encountered Higgins and Magnum. They battled him. He escaped. He spilled blood on Magnum's ring, which they used to identify him. They then gave Gordy a call. Gordy introduced Watt to them. He added that he was listed as wanted by the FBI. He was going to search the island for Watt with HPD. Higgins obtained proof that Anna was not on the same island. It was not under HPD's purview. Magnum and Higgins then proceeded there. They met Anna and Xavier. The hitman who employed them to save her was named Xavier. He made care to get to Anna first, because presumably he felt they were taking too long. He brought her to an uninhabited island. He remained at her side when Magnum and Higgins arrived. Higgins and Magnum had discovered the perpetrator of the hit. It was Jimmy Lyons Jr. who gave the order to carry out the hit. The boy found out he had a sibling after his father passed away, a half-sibling who can pocket half of the large family church's evangelism budget. It is now the brother's desire to murder his younger sister. Xavier blocked that from happening. Watt pursued them once he had saved Anna. Watt has Savior dead. Magnum got Watt killed. They can now accuse Anna's half-brother of first-degree murder based on these murders. Anna was secure now. In addition, she had more wealth now that she had access to her father's entire fortune. However, Magnum and Higgins continued to probe Xavier. He has no criminal history. His upbringing in foster care caused him to move frequently, which is how he came up with the rule to never kill children. While they had a drink, Magnum and Higgins took Anna somewhere safe. Higgins turned out not to be pregnant. Magnum is loved by both her and him, nevertheless, and Piper, Rick's new love interest, was present at La Mariana, who TC and the others will soon join. When TC started to feel something in his legs, he was overjoyed to tell everyone.